can get around it by killing all 3 at once. And then the fucker backstabs me, and I'm just like, what?
Let me know before you say go, go. Don't leave me hanging on like a yo-yo. Let me know before you say go, go. I don't want to miss it because it wastes time. Let me know before you say go, go. Cause I plan on casting a bounce spell. Let me know before you say go, go. You're taking forever tonight.
Nice. Wake me up before you go. Who's that by?
Wham!
Oh, that's right.
So the reason why I chose Wham this week was for Deadpool that's coming out next week, and he references it in his in the first movie. So
this is the song you've been holding.
Yeah. Excited for this one. And
I like the wake me up before the go. Tell me before you go.
Yeah.
That's nice. It fits into tonight.
Exactly. Because we played some games and
well, first off, welcome to Commander Smiths.
I'm Lowery Smith.
I am Adam Smith. And cousins?
Sure.
Cousins?
Yeah. No, yeah. We're definitely cousins. And
we actually have a new cousin.
Yeah. We one of our cousins had a child. Congratulations
to Carly.
And it's
really
really awesome.
It's actually Carly's our designer of our logo for our podcast.
So if you like it, you can congratulate her on her first kid, and
we'll pass it along.
Yeah, we'll pass it along because I don't think she listens.
That's our new listener.
Yeah,
maybe. But yeah, this is episode number 13. Lucky number 13.
DAC Trace.
Nice. Hey.
Espanol.
Good Spanish there, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you.
You can follow us on Twitter, like always, at Commander Smiths.
And you can email us at commandersmiths@gmail.com.
Or check us out on YouTube. 2 videos up besides our podcast. We'll be having some more videos coming up here soon.
We'll keep working on that.
Yeah, actually, I think the next project, the one thing I wanted to work on was talking about the proxies, make a video on how I make the proxies.
Yeah.
'Cause I had some people asking about that. So I think that's a work in progress. I think in the next few weeks I'm going to try to learn that.
I think it's a fun thing to learn.
Yeah. So,
I've done it. It's a little time consuming, but
yeah,
it saves your decks, it saves your cards, and it saves money.
But this week we are freaking full with stuff we got to do this week. So we are split into, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, kind of 4 segments here. We're initially going to talk about the 2 decks that we built and we made and played.
Muldrotha and Slimefoot.
Yep, and then I'll also talk about the Commander Spotlight of Slimefoot.
Yeah, so we'll go through that deck tech and it'll be good.
Yeah. Test those bad boys out. But then third segment is going to be talking about the Masters 25 cards. Because
we're going back to it.
But Larry had mentioned when we were talking about Masters 25, in a couple months, that's when the market's going to be really low on them, and that's probably the time to buy on those before they start rising.
It's been about 6 weeks, and I'd say this is kind of the low point, and we'll just go through some of the cards that should recover, and if you want to buy the cards, that's kind of the time is pretty much now.
Or if you wanted to spec on some of these, it might be a good time.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about our fourth segment is basically news of the week. There's some Brawl news and Commander 1v1, which really doesn't affect us, but it is Commander related, so we'll kind of discuss all that towards the end. So what should we start off with? Should we start off with the Spotlight, or should we talk about tonight's? Let's talk about tonight's games.
You want to start out with the games?
Yeah, let's start out with the games.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about.
How'd that go? How's your back?
Yeah. Needless to say, Lowery is a backstabber. This bastard is a freaking backstabber. So
do you want to set this up somehow?
Well, let's start off with the one game. When we went 1v1, we were waiting for my neighbor to finish up playing. And so Lowery got there, and I got there around the same time.
Yeah.
And so we decided to bust out 1v1 because it wasn't going to take long. And Lowery's deck it worked.
It rolled.
It worked awesome. Like I just was like, I'm done.
It was, the value that you get from Muldrotha, basically, I think I had like a turn 2 or 3 Hermit Druid and was able to always hit my land drop and fill up my graveyard with for Muldrotha. And then once I put Muldrotha down, I was like, just value town.
Like, I was thinking the whole time with that game, if this was a multiplayer, I think I would have been fine. But because I was the only target and I was the only one to try to remove your stuff. I mean, I did do the board wipe, but that really held you one turn.
Yeah, you did a Decree of Annihilation. I had enough mana to play Muldrotha and then an artifact creature and a regular creature, play a couple more lands off of Azusa, and I just fully recovered.
Yeah, so needless to say, at that point I was like, well, he has about 3 times the mana as I do and can cast anything from his graveyard. I have maybe 2 turns left, so we're done.
Yeah,
and they were done playing at that point too, so we were like, all right, let's get this
let's
bigger
move
game.
on. Let's do this.
So then the first game we played, let me just start off by saying it's like our normal when we play the play groups. We got
got targeted pretty bad.
Yeah, that was the other two against us two. And after about 2 or 3 turns of just getting pounded, we're like, all right, you want to do an alliance? Look at each other. Did we shake on it too?
Yeah, we did shake.
We shook on it, and we're like, alliance was like, all right, now it's 2 of us against them.
We'll make sure that we can survive the onslaught at that point.
And so
we were playing Inala and Krenko decks.
Yeah, and so the Inala deck, for some reason, he had my number. He didn't attack anybody else but me. He didn't kill, when my Slimefoot was the only creature I had, and there was Krenko, all the goblins are going crazy.
Yeah.
He decided to kill my Slimefoot. I'm like, what? That's the threat over there. It just
Krenko was just getting a massive army.
Yeah, it was insane. So actually, Lowery, when we teamed up and we got an alliance, he kept me alive by being able to. I had my tokens out and I had Slimefoot, so he had Ratchet Bomb, right? Was that right?
Ratchet Bomb was it was basically Krenko was going to kill us both at the same time, and I just draw Ratchet Bomb off the top, and I raise my hands. I'm like, yes!
It was pretty sweet.
A little bit, and I had Muldrotha in play, but that was the only thing I had in play.
Yeah.
And so I land Ratchet Bomb, kill all the tokens,
and which actually
and then
helps
I'm able
me because I had my tokens gained me life because I was down to.
You were at 3 or 4 life, yeah.
And so he was helping me gain life there. But so here's where the fucking turn comes in.
No. Okay, yeah.
This is when
there's a couple turns later, and we're kind of.
So I'm generating tokens. I'm just trying to survive. I was like, it's 7 lives.
Well, you have the Tenderfoot Dryad out,
yeah.
with Parallel Lives or Doubling Season out.
Parallel Lives of that one.
And so he's getting 2 tokens per turn.
Yeah, because I had Verdant.
Well, the Tenderfoot was getting you 1, and there was doubling.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that was that one. So I had that, and I also didn't I have the guy that did 1 damage for every time my creatures died?
Yeah, Zulaport Cutthroat was out along with Slimefoot, and so every time a sapling went into his graveyard, you were able to deal 2 damage and gain 2 life off of each one of them.
So it gets to Lowery's turn. Lowery's next to me, so Lowery gets his turn. He gets his Ratchet Bomb back. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't care about that. And so then I'm only attacking Adam, the wizard, Nala deck. He freaking. What did he take? I was like, here, take my Crater of Behemoth because he played something to be able to take stuff.
Yeah, there's I can't quite remember it off the top of my head, but there's a creature with Persist, and when it comes into play, you get to bring back a creatures
from a graveyard,
and then he doubled it up with a Knowledge trigger,
and he took my Crater Hoof,
and then one of my nothings,
whatever,
basically.
Yeah, and then all out attacked me with it. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll generate because at that point I had Growing Rights at Itlamog had flipped, so it's a Gaea's Cradle, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And so then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to generate tokens, and then I'll block and they'll all die and whatever. And then Lyra's like, yeah, but I'll Ratchet Bomb and kill them all. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? That was nowhere on my radar. Nowhere. I was like, what is going on? So then I'm really backpedaling. I'm like, okay, so I have to.
But he had 2 of these things out, and he dealt 20 damage with them, and then gained 20 life.
I kept forgetting that the parallel lives. So I was like, oh man, I'm down to 1. And I was like, oh wait, I actually have more tokens that came out, and so I did everybody 20.
It was like
damage.
22 damage at the
Brought
end.
everybody down to whatever, but I was down to 1.
You killed the
guy that attacked me.
You were down to 1 after all the damage was dealt.
And then then it gets to Mike, or the next person, the one that's playing Cranko.
The Cranko player.
And he had all he had to do was have one guy tapped, red guy. Because he had the enchantment out.
He had God Throne. It's a 2-mana artifact whenever a creature's
end step,
it would deals damage to each opponent for each creature he has tapped.
So all he had to do was attack Lowery, and then I was dead. But I realized if he would have all out attacked Lowery, that Lowery had the game. Like it was.
I would have been able to survive just barely, and then swing back and kill.
So I was like, Mike, I got to make a deal with you. I won't backstab you. I will not kill you until Lowery's dead, but do not attack, do not tap anything, and I'll see what I can do. And I, at that point, because I had, was it Fecundity?
Fecundity, yeah. So you had drawn
I had like
20-some
cards in my hand.
There's too many.
And one of them was the Bog.
Bajuka Bog. Which got rid of my
graveyard,
which was a full graveyard.
Yeah. And then I played, I think it was Butcher of Malachar.
Butcher.
And then I sacrificed my stuff, and so Lowery lost all his creatures. I ended up dying, but I felt like redemption after that freaking backstab. I was so freaking mind-boggled that happened.
Well, and that kind of.
I wanted to know. So what was the turning point in your head where you were like, "All right, I'm gonna fuck him over"?
It wasn't gonna mess you over. It was based off of like, all right, he's throwing 38 points of damage at you. And I got a little excited
because
I knew you were going to gain a ton of life, but the problem where I messed up was I did it while you were still kind of declaring blockers, and so I killed all your tokens, and then you still were able to block enough to survive to 1.
Yeah.
And what I should have done was waited for you to. Yeah. And so I messed up on that point.
But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, why did the knife come out of your back pocket and just stabbing me in the damn back?
Because
that hurt.
The game needed to get over with. And I knew you were going to be able to deal a ton of damage. Like 20, you did 22 points of damage and still were basically losing, but that's a ton of damage to each player. So 66 damage total when you're blocking. Yeah. So I felt like that was a time to I wasn't going to be able to recover if you didn't if you didn't get
nothing to you.
I could have killed you a lot sooner.
Yeah,
I had a Sword of Feast and Famine on my Muldrotha. You couldn't block him, and I could have just killed you.
Well, no, remember what I was talking about. I had Butcher Malachar that's where. So this is what also was happening with my turn, is I had Butcher Malachar in my hand, and I was like, well, Lowery only has 2 creatures. I don't want somehow that they kill my creatures and he loses Muldrotha and we both die. So I was like, okay, I don't cast it, and I hold on to that. But then I also announced that I was like, I could have done this, but Lowery actually already knew I had it because I somehow revealed it. I don't remember. Because it was searching. It was Growing Rights of Itlamog. That was the one card.
Yeah.
So anyways, I had that in my hand, and I also had the poison way of winning. And so I'm sitting there. This is what went through my freaking head. I'm like, how do I do this? Because we did agree that we weren't going to kill each other until we got these guys dead. So maybe I can get around it by killing all 3 at once. And then the fucker backstabs me, and I'm just like, what? I was feeling guilty. I was like, God, will he be pissed if I do this? I mean, technically they're all dead at the same time, because I was going to be able to do it.
I would have found that acceptable.
Yeah, right.
Other than the poison part. Yeah, I would. But if you're killing everybody at the same time.
That's what I justified in my head, but I had to wait until because I was getting 2 Saprolines each turn.
You needed to
have 10, which I would have had easily by the time my turn, because I would have made it a bunch and sacked them all.
And when you were making the 2, it would have been a ton of tokens on your side. Like even without poison, you were
a lot of
you
damage.
killed one person, you almost killed the other person, and I was gaining a bit of life off of
that worked pretty good.
yeah
Aetherflux Reservoir.
Yeah, that card was sweet in that deck.
Well, yeah, because think if
And
you
Muldrotha.
hadn't have done that, you would have been.
I would have been
from
dead
that
too.
first wipeout
Yeah.
with that thing. So
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I gained at least 20 life off of Aetherflux.
yeah, it was pretty insane. So yeah, then Mike ended up winning because I wiped
Krenko
Yeah,
won.
Krenko. Sorry, yeah, Mike. The Mike card, the Mike commander. And then the second game, that one was a little bit quicker because then we went down to 3 players.
Yeah, and all a player
or third
left.
game, I guess technically.
Yep.
So then that one, I ended up comboing off accidentally. I guess I didn't even.
You didn't realize that the combo was in there.
Yeah, and
but-
so I had Necro. What is it?
Necrogenesis.
Yeah,
I believe.
Necrogenesis, and then I played doubling season, and I was able to sack, and I had
Utopian Mycon, and so you were able to
sack my tokens. So it's a lot of pieces to be able to make that work.
But
Sack
you
two
got
to
it.
remove Lowry's graveyard, and then I went to remove.
I think the
Krenko's
other thing
graveyard.
that it's not an infinite well, it technically is.
Well, you have to have the targets.
Yeah, so you need the targets of the creatures, and with Muldrotha, I had a Hermit Druid in that game as well, so I had like half my
Yeah, that
library
was
in my
pretty-
graveyard, and so he had a ton of creatures that he could get rid of. So you ended up removing 11 or
11
12
of yours.
creatures from everybody's graveyard, and then you had Zulaport and Slimefoot again, and you were able to do
40, I think it was close to that damage. Or,
yeah,
not
40. Yeah, it was like 22, but we were both below 20,
Yeah.
so you were able to just kind of get it done with.
But yeah, I mean that hermit freaking
Yeah, Hermit Druid's
really good
really
in that.
powerful. I mean,
and he
it's
had
always
Sidisi
powerful
in
in
that
every
one
deck.
too as well, where it didn't hit as much as you wanted with the creatures, but
Yeah.
it made me do things different because I was trying to get to your hermit, but by you putting those tokens out, it made it 2 turns later before I put out Grave Pact
Oh yeah,
to try to
yeah.
wipe your guys' stuff. So that did help in that aspect, because if you only had the 2 out, I was just gonna
It would have been super easy.
to get that, but
Now-
I actually had to work at trying to kill him.
And that is one thing that I found with my deck is like when I'm sacrificing my creatures for the value, like Grave Pact effects really hurt me. Like they're really good against me because I just don't have enough creatures to keep up.
Yeah.
And so with the Slimefoot deck, being able to like sacrifice saplings, which gets rid of everybody's creatures with Grave Pact in play, I just couldn't keep up. I was just like, I played a Karn to get rid of Grave Pact.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't play Muldrotha
'Cause then
and
I
then
just
bring
sack it
back
right away,
enchantment or artifact hate because you sacrifice Muldrotha goes away. I never get a chance to cast
Yeah.
the spell. So the value, if the Grave Pact is in play, I just don't have. There's Pact of Erebos. I think that's right.
Yep.
And then there's also like Fleshbag Marauder and the like that, and it's just that style is going to be really tough for Muldrotha, my deck, to fight through.
Overall, how do you think? I thought your deck played really well.
I did.
It got scary. This is what happened a lot.
I really liked it when I was able to play like 5-6 spells in a turn, and just kind of like be able to slowly take over advantage.
Well, that artifact, the enchantment, the blue one that bounces a creature.
Seal of Removal was
that
really
pretty
good. Because it's just one blue sits there, and then it's an enchantment. You sacrifice the enchantment,
And the
it
ratchet
returns
bombs
it.
worked really well. I'm really interested. I want to play more games with that to see, because 2 out of the 3 games you had the hermit, and the second game where you didn't have the hermit, it did well with the graveyard, but your
Yep.
graveyard wasn't like
Yeah,
half your
I had
deck
like
height.
6 or 7 cards in
But
there.
you were
and
still
I was
able
just
to do.
boom, boom,
That's
boom,
where you
boom.
were using ratchet bomb, and it was working
Yeah,
well.
Seal
with
of
that.
Removal. I think I cast Karn in that game too.
Yeah.
One thing that I wasn't ready for was I cast Windfall, and then because I'm able to play my cards, my converted mana cost is really low on the deck, and so I was able to. I had 1 card in my hand, which was Karn, and everybody else had 4, 5, and 6 cards. So I just Windfall and drew 6 cards,
So
and
you-
it was
that
really
worked
sweet.
Yeah. So you're looking at more getting a couple
I
more
might
of
add
those.
in like a Whispering Madness, like
Yeah,
you talked
like-
about before this.
Yeah. And then
just-
what was the other
just
one? There was that black one that we.
Dark Deal.
Yeah, but that one wasn't. It's for how many.
That's
you
more of like a
discard.
Windfall, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be able to draw a ton of cards at that point.
But yeah, it gets scary. I mean, to be able to get that land, and that's why that hermit, and we're not playing a lot of tutors. Like
we're not the.
I have 2 tutors in this deck, and you had 2 tutors.
I
in
have
that deck,
Sidisi, Undead Vizier, or
which
whatever.
is what I use in mine as well.
You had yours, and then I had Intuition, and you had Court of Calling.
Yep, because it goes with the whole counter stuff.
Now, and I do want to point this out that Adam cheated. So
How did I cheat?
last week we did Muldrotha deck tech, and so he knew every card in my deck. And then we got together and we played. I never got to look at his deck. He got to just do whatever he want willy nilly without me knowing what was going on.
You put all the counter hate and all that stuff.
That is legit though. Like Ratchet Bomb was perfect against Krenko. That's what it was
did
against.
Work good against Krenko
you need to plan against token decks. You should always have at least one thing.
Actually, I will say I was adjusting, but then I didn't do it. Like, not adjust. Like, attrition originally I wasn't going to have in there because you had black, and I was like, well, that's not going to do much. But I was like, I'm facing more than just Lowery's deck, and he has more than one black creature, or you have other colors in there. So I was like, I need attrition, I need the sack engine and board control,
and attrition's really good. So
there wasn't anything that I added to deal with your deck. When I generally make a deck, I want an answer for everything, and so that's the Bajuka Bog. That's the only mass removal of a graveyard that I have in the deck. Otherwise, I have the spot removal creature stuff.
Yeah, like Necrogenesis.
Yeah, so that's the only one that's of your graveyard. The other one is mine, the new one off of Dominaria.
Oh, Fungal Bloom?
Yeah.
No, it's not a Fungal Bloom, but it's Fungal something or other.
Something with fungus.
Yeah.
Fungus among
Damn
us.
Saplings.
But yeah, that one's pretty sweet. I like that card a lot.
What did you think about your deck? Did you like how it ran?
I really enjoyed it. One thing that I noticed while playing it is the old fungus stuff, getting the spore counters, it takes a long time. Unless you have a generation of the doubling season, or I did not put Primal Vigor in there.
Would that even help it? I don't think so, because that's 1/1 counters and tokens.
Yeah. So, and then I didn't put Contagion Engine in there.
Contagion Engine. What that could have worked, but what is the ability that it ends up having?
What
does it do?
The Contagion Engine? Oh, it does. You get put -1/-1
Propagate
counters. No, it's proliferate and then proliferate again. So you do it twice.
Yeah, and that could be worth it.
Yeah, so that's on my cutting board of stuff to put in there, but it also deals with the other person's board where you can give a -1/-1 counter to everything.
And slowly get rid of their stuff.
And it doesn't matter if they have hexproof or whatever, because it's going to target them anyways. Yeah. So overall, I liked it a lot. I think in multiplayer, it's going to do very well because it is a lot of low casting cost creatures, and so I at least can get blockers out there and make a board presence, and then when it goes off, it goes off.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with like when you were dealing 10-20 damage to everybody in chunks.
Yeah.
And it was just like you build this board state that doesn't look super threatening, but it's threatening enough to like, oh, maybe I shouldn't attack all of you. I need to figure out how to get rid of these other pieces.
Yeah.
But then you're just able to sacrifice at will, and even getting rid of those creatures wouldn't help. You got to almost do it before you build up your army right there. And so you have to play against Slimefoot a little bit to figure, I need to get rid of Slimefoot or the other pieces before.
That's kind of one of the sacrifices I made in the deck is I don't have as much protection for Slimefoot because I figured with Slimefoot being such a low casting cost commander, and this is supposed to generate a lot of mana, like going to search for mana, everything. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of mana generation in it that I didn't put as much protection in. And actually, I don't care if you kill my stuff is kind of the point of it, because I want stuff to die so that I can do 1 damage and gain life from all that.
True enough. So
like I took out Heroic Intervention. I had a couple other things we can talk about when we get into the Spotlight. Commander's Spotlight.
Yeah.
But overall, it fit my style of play. I mean,
it did.
That's how
really
I play is like to sit back and just like, because I didn't at that point when I got attacked and I did that amount of damage, that wasn't in my radar of like I could do that at that point. I was backed in a corner. How the F am I going to stay alive? So I was like, okay, I got to gain this much life from all these guys dying and and so I was just.
And your decks end up doing that quite a bit anyway. Like there's a tallying of like, oh, you know what, I missed that trigger.
Yeah.
You know, but that happened. And
it's funny because we built our decks and with commanders we peed on.
Yeah.
And they ended up turning out more of how we build decks, because yours is very much like every single game you had a ton of mana. You were able to bring it out. You do a lot of recursion from your graveyard and trickery stuff like that. More control. And it did that exact. It's a Lowery playstyle.
Yeah. So like one really nice thing in our third game where it was Slimefoot, Muldrotha, and Krenko, and just the three people. Krenko player just threw a goblin at me. He's like, I'm going to deal you 4 damage. And then I played an aura that you can play at instant speed, but you got to sacrifice it at a turn. And so I was able to play that, bring back Eternal Witness that brought Exploration into my hand, and then block, kill the goblin. My Eternal Witness was going to die anyway. Went into the graveyard. Next turn, I was able to play Exploration, do Hermit Druid, play a land. I had a land in my hand, and I went from 5 to like 7 to 9 land. I was way ahead.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. And that's typically how you run with decks. You freaking go crazy with land and drawing and everything, and you take control that way. And Lowery gets scary.
And then I get teamed up on.
Well, we were from the beginning, both of us attacking Lowery. Once he got the Hermit out.
Yeah.
Once the Hermit was out, I was like, nope, we have to kill him. And he actually put not Swift Boots. He put Lightning Greaves on it, because I was going to target it with my Death Spore, but you put the Lightning Greaves on it, so I couldn't freaking touch it.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good play. But yeah, I mean, it was really cool. This was fun to have like almost an assignment of like, all right, these are the peed-on commanders. Let's build a deck and see what we can come up with. And it turns out we build decks like we build decks.
Yeah.
It always fits our play style. So,
but I mean, it could have been based off of us being attracted towards the decks that are with our play style.
That's totally true. That's exactly what it is. Does that kind of wrap up the segment 1?
Talking about the games.
Anything else you want to talk about with that?
It'll
be fun to play this a little bit more.
The only other play that I did that I was really enjoyed was I cast Emrakul, the Promised End.
You didn't do that once. You did that in the 1v1 game. You didn't cast him. You played him.
Oh yeah,
You cast him in the 1 game.
I did it in the 3-person game though. I cast him. Yeah. And so I took over the Krenko turn and attacked Adam with
28 points of damage came through to me. But he made the mistake with you kept my. Oh no! Didn't you steal? You stole my freaking Slimefoot.
So the Krenko player had, oh man, I can't remember the name of the card, but it's 5 mana. It's a 2/2 or a 3/3 with haste, and when it comes into play, steal a creature, untap it, it gains haste. And so I played that from the Krenko hand, stole Slimefoot, and attacked myself with Krenko and Slimefoot because I wanted to kill them both.
Slimefoot.
And then I attacked Adam with all the other goblins with the 28 points of damage. And then the crappy thing was, so I killed Krenko with Emrakul, and then I was blocking Slimefoot with two 2/2 zombies. And then Adam was able to kill one of the zombies before they dealt damage, so his Slimefoot survived. And then I got super excited though before all that because I should have moved my Lightning Greaves over to Emrakul to protect him from anything because I still wanted to block him, but I block and kill like. But
he
Krenko.
never got targeted after that, did he?
He got killed by the.
Wasn't me sacrificed?
No, it was the Dragon Storm thing. Oh, it's a 6 mana, right. Destroy all creatures, give 4/4 dragons to people.
Yeah.
So the Krenko player turned all his goblins into 4/4.
I was like, Lowery, I don't have an answer for this. And you're like, don't worry. I got this.
I got it. Most repulse.
Yeah, it was like, yay! I like you again. My back feels a little bit better. That wound is healing nice.
So I thought that was some really good gameplay with a lot of what was going on with our decks. I mean, we only played for 3 hours.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good interaction and games in with these cards.
Some pretty good interaction, politicking, backstabbing. We even shook on it, Lowery.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And I can
If you want a
dad.
real one, you need to spit in your hands.
Yeah, I guess that's what we got to do next time.
Blood brothers or something. Cut our hands. Blood bond.
I'm never trusting you again with that crap. I'm gonna always be like, oh, Lowery, that guy.
I think what you should do. I think you could still do it with me,
We
but
should've done
understand
more-
that it's gonna be a backstab eventually. You
So,
just got to figure out when that backstab's
Here's
gonna be.
the only credit I will give you is that when we were on the Alliance, we didn't put out specific parameters. Like what I should have said or you should have said at the time is we can't attack or
we didn't do any of that. It was just like we need to make sure that we control this game.
Yeah, and so
or take it back.
I think if I would have done parameters, if we would have said we can't kill each other until the other two are dead, then maybe. But even then, you could have got around him and like, I didn't kill you. It was him that killed you. So I just know your trickery. I know your trickery with it. So I will never trust you again.
Well, okay, set up more parameters. I'm a trustworthy guy.
No, don't.
And so
Don't ever trust Lowery.
I think
never trust a fart.
that's disappointing.
Yeah, you did that right at the beginning of this podcast. Don't ever.
I mean,
trust
we
that
went like
fart.
5-6 turns with doing nothing and helping each other
Yeah,
out.
it was helpful. I stayed alive. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then, right.
I helped you stay alive. You recovered, and then I wanted to kill you.
If you can tell, I'm a little bitter. So
Yeah.
we're gonna move on. to
ridiculous.
our commander spotlight. So how I built this deck, as you can kind of hear from how the games went, it's more focused on getting the tokens out, and I have 2 sack engines with Grave Pact and not sack engines, but to be able to control the board a little bit with Grave Pact and Butcher Malakar. Basically, how this deck breaks down is you have your fungus, which should we read through?
Well,
all
I
of
mean,
them,
you
think?
got it's the ones that create spores. So like Thallid Devour, Vital Spore Thallid. Which ones did you really like that you had in there?
Death Spore works really well with the -1/-1.
Oh, so like sacrificing a sapperling
Sapperling to
and
get-
then giving a creature -1/-1
Yep.
until end of turn.
I never got to use Spore Sour, Thallid. I have that on there twice for some reason. Psychotrope Thallid, that helped me a little bit because it's one
to draw the cards.
draw card. And
Utopia Mycon seemed to really work
Utopia
for
is
you.
really good.
It's a 1 mana 0/2 during your upkeep. Put a spore counter on. You can sacrifice sapperlings to give you any color of mana.
Yeah, that worked really well. And then the other one that I don't have in the fungus part, but it is a fungus, it's in my sack outlets, but it's the Thallid Soothsayer. Which
Is that the one that's tap 2, sacrifice
Tap
a
2.
creature to draw a card?
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is it sacrifices a creature. It's not just a sapperling.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
it helps when you need to sacrifice other things. So the other one, the one that I was talking about before, that one you have to specifically go after a sapperling. So those are my fungus. I think there's about 10 of them.
Yeah, and I think there's more than that, and you can
Oh yeah, definitely. I had to cut
and you
a
can
lot.
go out and find them. But like Adam was saying before, like the spore counters are kind of slow.
Yeah, you either need something that's going to help you or double that, or add spore counters onto it. There is
At a
some
quicker
stuff on
pace.
there. These are more. How I built it is to have these out, and they're just slowly gaining. But then you have the big guys that we can get into that, the counter manipulation stuff. The big guys to bring stuff out faster. So you have doubling season, that with parallel lives do the same thing where it's
Doubling the amount of tokens that are into play, yeah.
Yep. And then Sapperling Symbiosis, that was one of your specs.
Yeah, and I think I can see this being really good in your deck. You just didn't draw it.
It was in my hand
Was it?
last game, but I just had to do other things instead of that. Sprout Swarm, that helped a little.
That card was really good in our 1v1 game. Yeah, because I'd go and I'm going to kill your Slimefoot. And then you're like, well, tap that and 4 other creatures and or land.
Yeah.
And then I got another one. I was able to do it again. And then
you
got the value out of it. And I was just like, I actually ended up like, I went to go get Mind Slicer. I was going to bring that back the next turn to get rid of that, but then I hit you with Sword of Feast and Famine.
So
and then
I had to discard. I discarded it because I had to do a board wipe.
Yeah.
Was why I got rid of it. But yeah, that works really well, especially I think in multiplayer games. I think that's going to work really well.
Sapling Symbiosis or Sprout Swarm was really good.
I didn't get to use Nemata at all.
Do you think that'd be all right though?
Yeah, because it has the
overrun effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
So you sacrifice one and it gives the 1+1 to all Saplings, which is really good. Tender Shoot really was awesome. I loved that card.
I was impressed by it.
Because each time I had it out, it gave all my Saplings were 3/3s, and then every turn I was getting a 1/1. And
in Commander, I feel like Ascend is really good.
Yeah.
I think you're just going to have 10 permanents.
Yeah. I feel like that was my star of the deck for the 3 games that we played, because that was the one that I got the most use out of, I think.
Okay.
And then going from there, we talk about Parallel Lives. I didn't get to play Mikoloth. I would have liked to play that. I had it in my hand at one point, but
Mikoloth is always a scary card for me. Like because I just want to, like, when I play it, I want to just sacrifice for the best value. But you gotta wait a turn to get all your tokens out after that.
It'd be nice if it was everybody's turn.
Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah, that's exactly the point of why I never. It was in my hand. I think it was in my hand the last game, but I didn't cast it because I didn't have enough Saplings out there worth enough stuff that I wanted to sack to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Late game, I can see that being really good to play
with Slimefoot, and if you got like a Blood Artist or the Zulaport out, and then you just sacrifice everything about those two. And
so that's another thing I did notice while I was playing is like cards that come in like that have the ability of being able to sack whatever you want becomes very beneficial, because that's how I was planning on winning that first 4-person game. Was I was going to have enough of those Saplings out, give Slimefoot Infect, and then I was going to play Mikoloth. Actually, it was going to be the other one, the Devour guy that gets... I get to draw a card for each guy it devours. Yeah. So that was my sack out, is I was just going to drop him down.
Skull Mulcher.
Yep. And so I was going to drop him down, sack all the Saplings I had, draw those cards, but then everybody gets 10 poison counters and it's done. So
why you got to draw 10 cards?
Just to be like, hey, I got more cards in my hand.
I got these.
And then kind of to round it off with that, actually there's 3 more. So you got Jade Mage, which is 1 green and 2 colors, so you can create Saplings.
Do you think that was going to be any good?
I don't know. I never got around to getting her.
Yeah.
One I'd really like to see happen is Necrogenesis, because that one comes into play. It has 7 fade counters on it.
No, that's not Necrogenesis.
No, not Necrogenesis. That's the Graveyard removal.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the other one. Which one is that?
Sapling Burst?
Is that the right one? Sapling Burst. Yep. Sapling Burst is the one that... Oh, yeah, that's the one I took out. It originally was on my sideboard. Not sideboard, but my cards that were
on the fence.
Yeah.
Remember, so Adam starts out with, it's a 100-card deck. He starts out with 300 cards, somehow pairs it all down, and then he adds land in somewhere. So
seriously, I was at...
When he's like, this was in the cards that I almost kept, which is a pile of bigger than his deck already.
Yeah, no, I had 90 cards on Monday that I had to cut down to 64. It was pretty insane. But yeah, what Sapling Burst does is it's 1 and 4. It's an enchantment with fading 7. But when you can remove a fade counter from it to make a Sapling that's as strong as how many fade counters are on it. So you could remove them all at once. You can go, all right, I'm going to remove all 7. You make 7 1/1s at that point, but then they immediately die. So you do 7 damage and gain 7 life with Slimefoot. So that's kind of the interesting thing. It can be a game winner at the end, depending on how many of the Slimefoots and Cutthroats and all that you have out that deal.
Yeah, that seems pretty
damage. Cool. So yeah, that was pretty much...
it's almost like you want to be able to build up a critical mass of Saplings and then be able to get rid of them all as long as Slimefoot and or another effect like that happens.
Yep.
And then it's just everybody takes 10, 20 life.
Yep. That's pretty much... Oh, one last card was Verdant Embrace, which that worked pretty good in one of the games. Actually, it was that last game.
Yeah.
Because then Mike turned it into a dragon. I was like, damn it! It's the one time you don't want to sap or...
yeah.
It was a Thallid. That's why I put it on the Thallid.
The original OG Thallid.
I was like, I am going to put this in the least threatening of my... It was the one that didn't do anything besides that. And he turned it into a fucking dragon.
I mean, it was a good call.
It was. That was actually the right play. Yeah, so that's pretty much my token generation. So we went through the fungus.
Now you were saying that you wanted to have thought you would have a lot of land and like ramp in this deck.
So yeah, with this, I didn't put as many like mono. I didn't put mono rocks necessarily besides your normal Soul Ring.
Yeah, Soul Ring has to be in there.
But since I'm sacrificing a lot of things, I wanted cards that when they came into play, they were creatures, and they got me a land that came into play, not necessarily into my hand. There is one that goes into my hand, but
yeah,
that's the one that goes and searches for a forest, I believe, so I can go search for...
No, Silver Ranger will go and get you any basic land, but it goes into your hand.
Yeah. So I had Wood Elves in there, Fairhaven Elf, Yavimaya Elder, Sylvan Ranger, and then Solum Simulacrum.
Sad Robot, which is understandable. Like, you're sacrificing creatures in this deck, and Solum is one of the best creatures to sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
So one thing that I've always... Like, Yavimaya Elder, they used to call it the green ancestral recall. Because basically it's green. Mm-hmm. You're like if you're able to sacrifice it for the 2, you're drawing a card and getting 2 basic lands into your hand. So you're putting 3 cards into your hand. And that was the general consensus. I've always cut it. I've never been able to like keep it in a deck. I don't know if I like it enough.
Yeah, so I didn't have enough things. I just needed land to be able to go filter through my deck. Yeah. And the other point of this deck, with those guys going into the graveyard, is I do have some recursion, so I can keep doing it, is what I want to do. I kind of took one of the ideas that you had from your deck, the...
Eternal Witness?
Yeah. What's it, Eternal Witness?
What's that? Bringing a card back from my hand?
No. You're... Why do I... Oh, Journey to Eternity.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can constantly bring stuff back. Well, it's all my recursion. So Eternal Witness, but then Marin of Clan Neltoth, that one will keep doing it.
Classic.
And then Whisper Blood, the new one from this is Dominaria. Whisper Blood
Liturgist.
Yeah, but that one I feel like is a better Hell's Caretaker, because Hell's Caretaker you have to do at your upkeep. This, you sacrifice 2 things, but it's Saprolings. Yeah. So, and you can do it at any point and bring a creature back. So I have quite a few recursion stuff, and so that's why I was going to work with the 5-6 things that when they come into play, you get a land. So I'm filtering through.
And I always, you were talking about it earlier. I always like having a little bit of recursion because stuff is going to die in Commander. You're just going to have stuff in your graveyard. And so you don't even have to be based off of it, but if you have stuff that can bring something back, even a land to like, I need a different color. Eternal Witness, get back a fetch land, go and get the color you need. Like, it's that basic in my mind, and I think it's really good. Yeah.
So then moving from that, we get into the sack outlets. Kind of talked about the one before with the Thalid Soothsayer. Evolutionary Leap, that's the one where it's an enchantment.
Yeah.
Tap 1 green, sacrifice creature, reveal top cards of your library until you get a creature, put it into your hand.
I can see that being really good.
I'll get rid of my 1 little Saproling token to go get a creature that I actually need. You know, like it's
and deal everybody a damage and I gain a life.
Yeah, exactly.
And Attrition is classic. Viscera Seer, I think, is a free sack outlet.
Yeah,
Scrying seems really
good.
So
that's part of it too. Is you need some of those free sack outlets because it can get you get mana screwed, not mana screwed, but you've run out of mana. But
and you want to be able to still sacrifice things. And like I think. It's a good point with Slimefoot. You want to, if you have that mana, you want to be using it to create the saplings with Slimefoot.
Yeah.
And then you can sacrifice for free for that point. Like you can almost technically, I don't know if you had thought about this, but like another one you have on your list is Ashnod's Altar.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking.
So if you went Slimefoot, doubling season or parallel and Ashnod's,
like, boop, boop,
you can
boop.
You win.
Yeah, exactly.
You have accidental infinite
just
combos in here.
I was like, oh yeah,
I hate your deck now. It's a son of a bee.
Hey, it's an accident.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You're an accident. Just
Hey,
kidding. You're the first one.
What?
You were wanted.
So then to control the board, I have, like I talked about earlier, Butcher of Malachar, Grave Pact, but then I also, to get rid of some stuff, the only enchantment and artifact removal is using Freyalise, the Planeswalker.
And Reclamation Sage.
Right. Yep. And then Decree of Pain is the one that we talked about earlier too, or destroy all creatures, draw a card for each creature destroyed, or you can do the cycling, and it does -2/-2, but you don't get the draw effect.
Nobody wants to cycle it.
Yeah.
You want to draw, kill the board, draw a ton of cards.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So, and if you have tokens out, that's gonna most likely help you too. So that I was actually planning on doing it that first game, but then you bounced all my shit to my hand.
Yeah, it was the
Remember
right thing to do.
Yeah,
It was great.
Yeah, you ended up winning that.
No, you conceded. Different.
Yeah, it's still winning. Then I have quite a few drawing stuff. So since I don't have, like I talked about before, the two tutors I have, since we normally play with 5-6 tutors, I need a lot more drawing.
Yeah,
so.
we're trying to cut that out, so the games become a little bit more random, less predictable.
Yeah, so you have your two typical Sylvan Library, which actually is the first time I've put Sylvan Library into my deck, because I've been running with Mire's Guile and Sensei's.
What do you think of it?
I liked it. It just, the only time I actually got to play it. I should say I've had it in another deck, I think, but I've never played it. This was the first time I played it. It just didn't work in the situation I was in. It didn't help me at that point. I couldn't. I did one extra card, and then by that point, that's when
we were being picked on.
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit.
when I was like, I don't have enough life to do this again. But yeah, it'll be interesting to play with that more, because I can see it where you're like, okay, I'll draw the two just to see something else. That's the nice thing, is having that option. I never played Sensei's, but it is in this deck. I also have Life Crafters, Bestiality.
No, Bestiary. Don't say it like that.
I never got that out, but that should be good. I got Growing Rights of Itlamog out.
That one
I like
was
that card
pretty
a lot.
sweet in that token deck.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome card. Smothering Abomination. I was excited for this card, but I never got to play it. So
what is that one?
It's an Eldrazi. It's 2 black and 2 colorless. Mm-hmm. It's a flying. I think it's a flying 3/4. But
4/3, I think.
4/3. Yeah, you're right. 4/3. But then you have to sacrifice a creature at the beginning of your upkeep, and anytime you sacrifice a creature, you draw a card. So, but it has to be a sack engine, but I'm sacking stuff, so I could draw multiple cards with that. And then it also gives me my not many flyers in this deck. So it's one of my
that's true. Yeah,
2 flyers.
You don't have a ton of flyers.
And then to round off the draw, Fecundity, that worked out really well. Skull Muncher, talked about that. And
Fecundity drew you a ton of cards.
Yeah, that was pretty much how I made it so Larry didn't win that.
I think it's a
game.
little dangerous against other token decks, but it's really good in this deck, I think.
And then we move into the game winners. Beastmaster Ascension, it's a pretty good one for this, because if you have little tokens and they're 6/6s instead of 1/1s. Craterhoof, of course. I was debating not even putting that in there, just to be like, I want something different to win the game with. But I never got to use it. I almost got it used in my face.
You definitely got to use it in your face.
But I didn't die from it. I ended up killing him. So, yeah.
I was trying, though.
Son of a bitch. Coat of Arms, that would be good with the multiple...
Yeah, with all the saplings, and you have a ton of fungus that are... I think they all kind of work.
And then I talked about Glistening Oil, and then also Eldrazi Monument. So it has a little bit of sack part to it, but it gives them flying too. Woo, woo. Yeah, I wish you could see it. I did a little hand gesture. Woo, flying over the top.
It's like a Pegasus going over the plateau.
But yeah, so those...
Great sunset. Maybe some rain clouds in the...
That's my thunder.
I like it.
And then additional damage, talked about that. This should end up rounding off my stuff, was the Falcon Wrath Noble, Zolaport Cutthroat, Blood Artist, and then Helm of the Host I put in that spot because you can put it right on Slimefoot.
If you put it on Slimefoot and then you're doubling the triggers, I can see that happening. Pretty cool.
So that pretty much rounds up the deck. We'll be putting like we did with Lowry's deck.
Yeah, we'll put it on tappedout.net, and then it'll get you a full deck list of what Adam kind of played with, and it'll hopefully give you some ideas if you want to build Slimefoot. You
And
can
it's
look
private,
at Muldrotha.
right? No one else sees our. But you
right now,
on...
I haven't. I believe that's the case where I haven't like set it out into the wild of tappedout.net.
Into the wild.
So right now it's just kind of our listeners kind of looking at the decks at this point. I think that's what's happening. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm new to the site, so I'm not 100% on everything at it yet.
So yeah, we'll get that list up, and if you have any comments or things you'd like to add on the land, we'll put that on there too. But it's just you use your utility land, like I don't know. I put in the Abbey,
Westville Abbey.
Yeah,
that's not a bad one.
Works with the sack and stuff. So yeah, I like the deck. I'm definitely gonna play it a lot more here in the future. So now we move into our Masters 25 specs. Do we just want to kind of list, since we're kind of running short on time? Do we want to list?
We can be kind of. This is technically our Smith specs section. We kind of almost started off with Masters 25 the first couple. After probably starting episode 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think starting with those specs. I think what we could do, kind of on-air production meeting right here.
Yeah,
is. We've already talked about these cards in detail. If you want to hear about the cards in detail, what we thought of them, you can go back to those episodes that talk about it. We're just going to name the cards and really kind of go with a little bit of why we think that they're good, and if you want to go with the foil or the regular. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think that's all right.
Just so we don't go into like 3 hours of talking.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. You guys don't like us that much. But also remember, we have card tags at the bottom of at least Podbean or on Twitter.
Yeah,
you can at least go and see where they are and what episode they are if you want to go and find out what we said about them.
Yeah. So why don't we start? Well, should we just start with the lands? I feel like all those lands need to be bought now.
The filter lands, so cards like Twilight Mire, Fetid Heath, Cascade Bluff, Flooded Grove, and Rugged Prairie.
The only reason I say that with these, and I'll do a little detail, I guess, with them, but is the foils right now are like $17, but your foils for any of the other Eventide and the expeditions are really expensive, or that's
but it's $71
and
$88 for the expedition.
So you're looking at a $50
potential.
Yeah, and the regular Eventide ones are in the 20s. So that's also a set that there isn't a lot out there, so it's a little more rare.
So you're kind of saying go after the foils
more than the regulars.
And I think if you don't have any, it's fine to go and get regulars. Oh, yeah. They're solid cards in Commander.
I'm saying more in spec-wise. If you're trying to make some money off of it, I would say go for the foils of all of these.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I think I'm going to try to shoot for. And they're under
$20.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're almost 1.5 more than what it costs to get the regular. Because the regulars are 10.
True.
So it's not that much more expensive. What was one that you had stated you wanted on there?
I think we've talked about this one twice, but Street Wraith is perfectly a perfect time to buy it. It's an uncommon from this set. It was reprinted in Modern Masters and in Future Sight, but it's like a $7 to $9 card. Played in Modern, pretty heavy.
Yeah, and I'd say probably go for the regular on these, because you can get them for $2.
Yeah, the regular is just fine to go and get, because I think if you get it for $2 to $3, I think it's going to end up being a $6 to $9 card, because the demand is high enough for it to recover from the reprint.
Yeah. Okay. Then we get into Pact and Negation. That one I also was thinking just go for the regulars, because the foils are pretty damn expensive. Compared to, well, I guess you could go for foils. They're $25, but the regulars right now are $11, and those can be around $25. Well, yeah. I'm not talking myself.
It's a really good card.
Or both there.
It's basically a free counterspell in Modern, which is the only one. You just got to be winning that turn.
Yeah. So, but both the regulars for Modern Masters and Future Sight are over 20 for the regulars, so you could see a double up on this one if you ended up just going regular.
I can see it going doubling for both cases. Another one that this one I'm pretty high on is Imperial Recruiter.
Yeah.
Now this card was first printed in Portal 3 Kingdoms. Now it's in this. It's down around $40. and it's used in a kind of fringe legacy deck. But if that deck takes off, Imperial Recruiter demand goes up, and I see a $40 price tag being much more in the future.
Yeah, and the foils are doubled up on that. But if you look at this is the only like real. They had the promo.
They had a judge
promo, which is $125. And then the portal, but there isn't a lot out there, so the inventory on that.
The portal 3K is
it's more expensive
really
than the
tough.
foil.
Yeah, the basic. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you want a copy of that, I would definitely jump on
now's the
getting
time.
That. Yeah. That with Summoner's Pact is another one that I was thinking we could go after. That I was thinking more of the foils on those bad boys.
I can see that.
It's the same thing as what I was talking about with Pact of Negation. Then,
In a Pact of what's this?
Summoner's Pact.
Yeah, Summoner's Pact is
green.
Also basically a green combo spell.
Yeah.
You go and get one of your elves and just start going off, or you can go and get your Craterhoof Behemoth and just win.
Yeah. So the foils of those are sitting at 13. When you look at Future Sight or Modern Masters, which is a pretty recent set, those are up around 30 or $25. Well, not recent, but you know what I'm saying. It's not Future Sight recent.
No, yeah.
Or other way around. Not Future Sight old. It's more recent than that. Cool story.
I can agree.
But yeah, I would probably go for unlike with Summoner's Pact, I would probably with Pact of Negation. Those I would more stick to regular. These you could go both ways. Do you go both ways?
Nope. Just one.
Just one.
Just one way.
You sure?
Yeah.
You go both ways? Yeah. Because regulars are in the teens and you can get it for around $6.
What's wrong with you?
It's late, man. It's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Why would you ask me that question? I thought you knew me.
I don't know you anymore. You backstab really bad.
So better. One.
I'm never letting that down.
Another tutor that's good to go and get is Eladamri's Call. It's green-white instant. You get to go and put a creature from your library into your hand. This is pretty low at this point after the reprint. It's under $4.
And I was more focused on I know the foils are a little more expensive, but man, when you look at Plane Shift compared to that, it's $75 where you can get these
versus
foils.
15, 14, 15.
$14-15. So you're looking at a big increase, and so this
potential increase, yeah. And I think this is more of a definitely a commander card. Yeah. Being able to just get any creature into your hand is solid.
Then I think I had next on the list was Cursecatcher. Cursecatcher, you could go for the foils of these guys as well. They're at 9, whereas when it was Shadowmoor, it's at 35. The regulars, you could probably go for those as a double up, maybe. I mean, they're at 7.
Well, I mean, it's used quite a bit in Modern and Legacy Merfolk, which is always a threat. It's not always played a ton, but sometimes, for some reason, a Merfolk deck just wins a tournament. Everybody buys Merfolk, and then it falls out of favor again.
Yeah.
Like it, fairly similar to like goblins and elves. So,
next one,
Luminarch Ascension. This is a really good commander card in my mind to get like a target on your head.
Yeah,
but
right
it's,
away.
it's really good. So that's an enchantment for a white and a colorless, and then it's
if you don't get damage, you get a counter. Or no, if you don't lose life a turn, you get a counter, and then
you can pay 2, and then
to get a 4/4 angel.
To get a 4/4 angel, and you can tap as many white and colorless as you want to do. It's stupid.
So the funny thing with this one is it's $2 regular, $4 for foil. The foils of Zendikar are 14, so you're looking at a $10 potential.
Yeah, the foils are definitely the way to go with this one if you're looking for a lot of increase there.
Yeah, definitely. And then we move into this is one that you had in your deck, the
Pernicious Deed.
Yeah, I like that card a lot actually. And I was thinking along the same lines as what we were just talking about, Luminarch Ascension. Go for the foils of these. I mean, these are $2. Foils are 9, but they're upwards of $20 to $40. I mean, I was just printed in Conspiracy, and those are at $20.
Yeah, and I can see them being on par with whatever the Conspiracy stuff is.
So you're looking at a double up there.
Yeah, and at least because remember I think the foiling process on the Masters 25 does look a lot better.
And it has the watermark.
The watermark
which is
makes it
pretty
really
sweet.
good. Yeah.
So this one again, foil. I mean, if you want all these going for regulars is totally fine too. But when we do a focus on one or the other, that one I'm saying more focus on the foil. If you're looking to increase spec on it,
Yeah.
make money.
And then another one that we're thinking that's pretty dang low is Rishadan Port. It's can tap for a colorless, or you can pay one, tap it, and tap down an opponent's land. This is used in Legacy, Death and Taxes, and this is it's a solid card in there.
It's kind of tough to figure out if you want foil or not. You could go both ways with that. We're going both ways.
I don't know why you get flustered with this, but the modern or the first printing is from Mercadian Mask, which is right around $80 right now.
Yeah,
and so you have some ground to make up on.
$80 there, but then the foil of this is $70.
Yeah, so I think you want to pick up either.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah, this is at 20,
or as you like to say, go both ways.
Go both ways. Well, because look at that, $500 for the foils.
Yeah, I mean it was.
It's a long time ago, so that's kind of the hard part with some of these printings. Yeah, the Judge promo.
Yeah, you got a Judge promo that's about $150. That's probably a more realistic.
So you're looking at a $70 to $80 increase from the foil that it's at right now.
I think that's at least a more realistic goal.
Yeah. Then we move into this one's pretty interesting. So it's Magus of the Wheel. I was more focused on the foils of this, of course. I keep saying the foils. But, I mean, this is only printed in Commander, and the Commander card itself is $7, where you can get these for $1, probably $1.50 right now. So you could go for the regulars on this, but it hasn't been printed in foil. So the foil is at probably around $8.50 right now, $9. So it's only $1 more than the Commander $7 one. So I think the foils of these could potentially go up, and you really can only use this in Commander and Legacy, right?
Yeah, and I think this is a solid replacement for Wheel of Fortune, because Wheel is like over $80, and it's just not a realistic card to go out and buy for decks. And Magus of the Wheel is much more realistic, along with a couple others. But there was a reason why this card was $7. It's a 3-mana 3/3.
Yeah.
That's better than Hill Giant.
Yeah. Good comparison.
It's way better than Hill Giant.
Next one.
So we talked about this last week. So it's Mikokoro, Center of the Sea. It's a solid land. It goes in Nekusar.
Yeah.
Locust God.
Foils of those. That's what I would say. Go for on those. Next one is Ensnaring Bridge. Now this one's still expensive, but if you compare it to you got that's why I went for foil on these. Foils on these is actually what I was thinking to go after. It's been printed quite a few times, but the foils tend to be over 100. These are at 70 right now. Every other foil printing, the lowest is 140. So you're looking at least at a double up with the 7th edition. 8th edition is at 153. And then you got all the inventions is at 188. So
and I'll admit, one of the reasons why maybe the other foils, which are 7th and 8th edition, are so expensive as well, is because
very, very rare.
Well, it's
one of the first printings of foil too, wasn't 7th edition the
7th edition? Urza's something or other legacy.
Oh no,
but with the white border and
with
the foiling on the white borders, they're actually black bordered then. And that tends to be highly sought after. Mm-hmm. Like it'll make a nothing card from 7th edition be worth $1.
Yeah.
Just because it has black border foil when it's.
But Ensnaring Bridge is used all the time.
Yeah,
this card is so good.
It's a really good card.
Yeah. So that's why I was saying the foils, because you can get this. It's 37 right now. You can get any of the other editions for that same amount, pretty much. So that's, I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily go for the regulars unless you don't have it in your collection.
Yeah, I think it's a solid card to go and get into your collection if you got the moolah.
And then we have 2 more cards left. You want to do Azusa?
Yeah, Azusa, Lost But Seeking. This card was bonkers in my Muldrotha deck.
Yeah.
So it's
so you need to go get this
card.
Go
get this if you want to build with Muldrotha, but it allows you to play 2 extra lands per turn.
Yeah.
And
So the foils of this are at 30, and your other 2 printings of foil, which one's a Judge promo, but they're at 53 was the Judge promo, but your Champions of Kamigawa is over 100.
Yeah.
So you could go, I guess, even for the regular on this too, because it's 18 versus 31.
And this is going to be a high demand card. It's in one of the most popular decks in Modern.
Yeah.
So.
And then our last card is Rest in Peace. Looking at the foils on this one as well, $12 for foils. Return to Ravnica was at 22, so it's like a double up.
In my mind, this is a solid sideboard card.
Yeah.
And sideboard cards are almost always needed. Like Stony Silence got a reprint, and then that card has recovered quite nicely with it. Like Grafdigger's Cage, which is another sideboard card. So sideboard cards tend to go into a lot of different decks. They're not just focused.
Yeah.
So I think Rest in Peace is going to recover after this printing.
All right, that does it for our Masters 25. That should be pretty much all the cards. We probably won't hit Masters 25 again.
Probably not.
Probably
we can
not.
move on.
It might be a Smith spec later when it's really low or something. But yeah, we'll move into our final segment, which is going to be basically our news for the week.
Magic news.
You had it ready.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah, you're like, how am I going to do this?
So I did a stutter. That's what
magic news. So there's a couple of things that happened this week. I guess the biggest news is with Brawl. Brawl's been it's been taken off.
It's a new format. I think a lot of people are excited about it, but there was already some poo-pooing on the format, and that's why they made some changes.
Yeah, so they banned Brawl, Chief of Compliance, and Sorceress Spyglass, and then they unbanned a bunch of cards here too.
Yeah. Do you know what? So like,
they were like 50 to 75%, I guess, of the
was
decks
Brawl
was
decks.
Brawl decks.
And then Sorceress Spyglass actually just shut down Planeswalkers,
which was you can have Planeswalker as your commander.
Yeah,
so.
and this can go on any deck since it's artifact.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like
Yeah,
so that's kind of lame.
So it's only for what we're saying here is everything. This is just for Brawl. This doesn't affect Commander, your normal EDH.
It's just Brawl.
But then they unbanned a bunch of cards. You want to start off with the
Feldar Guardian, which is a infinite combo with Saheeli Ray.
Yeah, and then they unbanned Aetherworks Marvel and Attune with
Aether and Rogue Refiner, which are all energy cards.
Yep, and then Reminap Ruins and Rampaging
Ferocidon. Yeah, I love Ferocidon.
It's good that they did unban these because you're playing with 100 cards. So,
it's 60.
Oh yeah,
but it's still a singleton.
Oh yeah. Singleton. That's what I meant. 60. That's one other thing they did change. With 1v1, your life is not now 30. It's 20 when you're going 1v1, and then as your artifact general, so like Karn or your colorless commanders.
Yeah.
That Thopter, that's an artifact legendary creature.
Hope of Japur.
Yeah.
Japur.
So the problem that they're having is that you couldn't play those with lands because you couldn't use any of the wastelands because it's not in the set. So what they did is they made it so if you decided that those were your commanders, you have to choose one basic land type, and then that's...
So if you're going swamps, it has to be all swamps.
Yep.
You can't just mess around with it, which...
It makes sense. That's kind of cool. I like that they evolved that into that because you want to use Karn. Karn's freaking awesome. You see he's up to 60 now.
Yeah, Yes. That makes dueling boxes feel better.
Can we adjust those prices?
No.
Well, and then I just opened up Teferi in one of my fat packs here.
Jeez. Yeah, you did. Just getting better.
Tough guy sniff.
No. I just get... My luck has gone away when it comes to opening packs.
Did you buy a fat pack at all?
No.
You going to?
No.
I just I always like to buy the fat pack because I like to have the box of each set.
I bought the 3 packs for the whoever lost the box, and those 3 packs were so bad. I haven't bought another pack of Dominaria.
You almost walked away from Magic.
No, I'm done buying. I'm happy with what I have currently. I'll buy singles at this
point. Unless we can get a buy a box.
Yeah. No, yeah. If I can get a buy a box, I might open up another box. But I'm much more of I'll open packs until I feel bad, and then I'm done. I just leave the set. I'm done buying it. And so I'll run good. Like, okay, I'm gonna buy 3 packs and at least one good rare out of it. I'm like, I'm happy. But then if I buy 2-3 packs and they're just garbage, I'm like, done.
That's kind of what happened with me with the Ixalan block. Like, I never got good stuff in those.
Yeah,
I didn't get a single good thing out of those cards.
I bought 2 packs of Rivals and it was garbage. Yeah. And I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, 2 packs.
I'm not spending my money on this.
Well, okay. So one more thing with Commander.
Yeah, something pretty cool. I like that they do this. It's Commander's Anthology, and they're going to have a second volume of it. And they kind of revealed the lists that were coming out to it. So it's going to be built from scratch, which is the Duretti Scrap Servant deck. Devour for Power, which is the Mimeoplasm deck. And then you have Wade into Battle, which is the Kalem giant deck, basically. I'm not happy about that one.
And then
Atraxa, breed lethality.
Lethality. I would have totally read that wrong. I would have read lethally, and then I would have been like, "Oh wait,
could have been
there's a
lethality."
But the interesting thing about this is the MSRP on it is going to be $165. So you get all 4 of those decks with all the cards that are in it, and at the moment, each one has at least a $20 card or more in the deck. But then that's going to change because it's being reprinted here.
Yeah, so value is going to drop because supply increases, and you're going to...
But what I calculated out, I think, what did I text you? I think I said like 6 of the
cards would get you $165.
Yeah, 6 out of 400 cards gets you the 165.
My problem generally is I want to keep the good cards, though.
Yeah.
And so I'd want to sell like all of them but those 6, and that's a lot tougher.
Yeah, but you could sell... yeah, I guess. Atraxa $30 right now.
Yeah, I'd love to have 2.
But you sell all those 6, and then you go and buy another one, and then you do it again, and then you have
bunches and bunches of value cards.
So 394 cards. That's kind of how I had with Scavenging Ooze when that worked out, and I just freaking kept selling just the one card, buy another one. It's
good because
Atraxa needed another printing.
I agree,
because she's getting way too expensive for a Commander set that came out 2 years ago.
I think the way that you were talking about it is a lot of work in my mind.
Yeah.
But like I'm just not really worth or willing to do that. For some reason. Yeah, I work really hard to find my value, and then when it comes to something easy like this, I just
too much work. When the first anthology came out, I don't remember that actually. And so how easy, do you remember it all? Do you know how easy they were to come by? Like, could you get these at like Target? They've changed things
you
now.
Can't really get it at Target from what I remember.
But now they've changed how things are doing. Like, they're actually releasing Masters and everything at Target now. Do you think this is going to be available at Target and your big box Walmart?
They probably have it somewhere in the announcement, but I don't think so.
So it's going to be at your local game store?
I think so. I think it's a little bit rarer than box stores.
Do you think this 165 price is going to stick?
I think stores will break it apart and sell it for more.
Well, I'm thinking online. eBay? I bet you this is going to be way up there. I think initially it's going to be really high.
It could be. They probably already have listings.
Yeah, June 8th, so it's actually pretty soon that this is going to be released. So just a little less than a month.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
So, yeah, that's pretty much.
I'm surprised that they're actually releasing it.
And so right now. Are the Commanders foil then in this? Isn't that what?
No, I don't think the Commanders are foil, but I do believe that they changed the Legend crown to the Dominaria version.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's kind of how they did it. I'm surprised that they're not releasing this like in the winter for Christmas or something, because this is a bigger thing.
Since they changed their Commander schedule and had Commander come out in the
a little bit earlier.
Summer.
Yeah, I feel like it gets far enough away. Maybe it's competing too much with the new set.
Yeah. They needed the in-between sets. This is their thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Hey, do you want to spend more money?
Yeah. I'm interested. I'm curious to see how the prices stay. If, they stay at the prices they're at, I'll probably buy it and sell off a couple of them and see how many I can turn before the prices drop.
I think there's some great value to be found in this.
Yeah, definitely. I think that wraps it up. We're pretty long this week. There was a lot to talk about, so we're gonna kind of cut things off pretty quick here.
It's like normal.
Not like I guess. We're an hour. 15.
We always aim for an hour, and we're always over an hour.
Well, we did pretty good then. We talked for like 30 minutes on how the cards went and everything.
You did a great job today.
You did too, buddy.
Thank you. You guys have all been great listeners too. Like super just attentive. I love it.
So yeah, that wraps up this week's episode.
You should compliment our listeners as well. I don't know why you're ignoring them.
You guys are pretty. Does that work?
You sounded bitter still.
Yeah.
Should I get that knife out of your
Yeah,
back?
I was gonna say, can you remove that? It's affecting my mood. Douchebag. God,
I'm glad I brought it up at the end,
I
so then
know.
you're just not going to be able to sleep.
You know, I think if I wouldn't have got a win on that last game, I think I would have been still a little more bitter. I think that helped a little bit. Been like, okay, I comboed off, I'm fine, but still, that stings.
I loved it. That was a great play.
Yeah, you were chuckling. I was like, what the hell, man? Come on. Ethics and cousins and none of that means nothing to you.
You deserved it.
No, I've never trusted you again. Never again. Anyways, that wraps up this week. You guys can check us out on Twitter at CommanderSmiths or shoot us an email
At commandersmiths@gmail.com.
And like I said, I will be working on that video at some point here soon. I actually do want to get that up as one of our newer things to have a video to watch to see how we do our proxies. It's a pretty slick way to make our cards look good because there is a thing of like
Easier way of doing it.
well, an easier way to do it, but then you don't also just want a card that you look at the sleeve and it just says the name of the card written on a piece of paper. You know, we make it actually look pretty nice. And I'm a stiffler for that. Stickler?
Stickler.
I'm a stiffler. You know, stiffler.
There's an American Pie reference. What the heck?
I'm a stiffler. This is what happens at 2:30 in the morning. You have a stiffler. All right. I think that'll wrap up this episode. I don't know what we're doing next week, but we'll do something.
I feel like you're just elongating this so that it is longer so that you're
So
right
I'm
5
right.
minutes ago. Yeah.
All right. We will see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks for listening.
See ya.